what about enlightenment in the sense of what does it mean to be enlightened and how can one reach that?
Well, in the Buddhist perspective, it's a bit deeper than the word enlightenment that used in the West. So generally, let's give a kind of simple analogies, like thinking of the mind, like a clear water. And in this mind, because everything is clear, is also contain knowledge that we have, the knowledge about who we are, where we are from, where we should be going, all the purpose of life. We had the answer, but it was clouded by the ink that we have been putting down there for many of the lifetimes that we believe in. So, many colors of ink started to mixing up until we can't see what's inside and we can't really see reality as it is. Enlightenment is a process that we are able to filter everything completely until everything returns to the pure state permanently. And that's when we obtain knowledge. That's why enlightenment means to know, to awake from our own ignorance.
Again, thank you so much for making it so practical. You're saying, okay, Buddhism is actually a lifestyle, not a religion, which is quite a common misconception, I believe, as well. And again, about enlightenment, really making it more tangible for others to understand, for us to understand. Very much appreciate that. I love your analogies as always. I've said that before. And also speaking of, because you were talking about the ink in the glass, imagine you shake the glass, then it starts to clutter. This brings me to the topic of the viruses of the mind. I know you prepared teachings about that before, and I went through your teachings. And we'd love to ask you a bit more in-depth questions regarding, for example, to start, what you believe the biggest causes of negative self-beliefs. Where do you believe it comes from, that negativity?
It's just like when you were born. There's already a lot of bacteria in your stomach. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fungus bacteria on your skin. If you put into the microscope, you can see them. So it's always been something that we accumulate over lifetime, and it's there waiting for when we are weak. Whenever we are weak, it means when our immune system is low, it shows effect. It makes us sick. Same as our mind. It has this for a long time, throughout lifetime, we keep adding up. And each time we let our mind wander, every time we let our mind being affected by people, situations, circumstances, until our anger, our frustration, our jealousy, ego just kind of stir up, we're adding up more. And the more that we make it stir up, the more we catch on them, we're adding up more. So that's until we accumulate and we carry it to the next life. That's the thing.
And that's the karma you were talking about earlier, right?
Well, because of that, whenever our mind is negative, let's say if the water is blue, everything I see will be blue, right? Which means I perceive the world in blue color instead of seeing the world according to its reality. So basically, if the blue color is anger, that means I will see the world based on my anger. So my thought, my words and action will be based on my anger, which is going to be a bit more violent, more hurtful, more spiteful. And then, of course, it will create a negative effect on me. When I say something bad to a person, they don't like me, they will say something back at me. Then what? It stirs up my mind even more. Then it generates more negative activity. So it's kind of vicious cycle, they keep running on and on and on. Yeah. So that's why we focus on going back to the source. How can we actually keep our mind steady, become more aware, so that we can just keep those ink intact. And then when that ink is intact, at least it's kind of cleared out, I can have clearer thought. And that leads to what? Better words and better action, which means it leads to more positive consequences. So I kind of reverse the cycle with that.
So you're basically saying it doesn't matter as much where it comes from, because you say we're actually born with it. It matters more what you do with it. Right?
Exactly. So, doesn't matter, because it's like you try to complain that you have fungus on your body.
Yeah, and try and get it off.
And then, whose fault is it to put it on my body? It doesn't help you if you know who put it there, but it matters how you know the way to kill it.
So how should we deal with it? Mind-wise, of course.
Technically, each time you're meditating, those ink get filtered out. So we call it purification process. Actually get filtered out each time you're meditating. But the problem is that the moment you open your eyes after meditation, the mind tends to goes out and capture more. So that leads to the next part, which is the lifestyle I was talking about, because the lifestyle of discipline helps you to keep your mind become more mindful, becoming more aware, at least make it less distracted. So which means, let's say you have 100% of ink. and you filter out, let's say 5%. So when you go on the day, that 5% is already added up back. But if you become more mindful, you probably add back like 2. So when you meditate again, you reduce another 5, and then you add more 2. So it's kind of, reducing over time. But if we don't do this kind of, become more mindful with our daily life, become a bit more disciplined with the way I behave, that will keep adding up, just like before, or even more. So
if you keep meditating, eventually you'll win.
Generally, that actually what it is. And of course, it's going back to the way your lifestyle is. That's why meditation is one part. It helps you to get kind of deeper, to become more aware. But then if you carry that awareness outside, it means that you look at people, you started to become more mindful about yourself. When your attention is with you, then you see others with kind of more calm, peaceful feelings. And then you interact with them with peace, with kindness, with compassion. And that leads to, not adding more ink and actually clearing out the ink at those actions.
I see, yeah.